Let's head to the MASN broadcast booth and welcome in our colleague Jim Palmer. And Jim, you look at the surge Adam Jones is on an 8-game hitting streak. He's figured it out. He's turned it around at the plate. But what about defensively? There have been some inconsistencies this year. What do you do about that?
Well, you know, we were kind of joking around. Rick and I went to dinner last night, and I said, you know, if he's not careful, the Gold Glove police, they're going to sneak in the middle of the night. They're going to take that Gold Glove. So, you know, earlier today, I think the one thing Juan Samuel's done a good job of is, you know, trying to get guys to just come to the ballpark, get into a routine, take balls off the bat. You know, especially, this looks like they're hitting fungos, but, you know, I watched them a little bit later on, and all the good outfielders that I had a chance to play with played behind me. You know, Al Bumbry came up, didn't have a lot of experience. They would take maybe go across instead of taking the direct route to the ball. Paul Blair, they'd work on their defense. You know, Brooks Robinson won 16 Gold Gloves. Those things don't happen by accident. So there's a routine, and part of it is actually going out there early. You know, when you're taking batting practice, you do your hitting, you do your base running, whatever, you get loose, and then you go out and take balls off the bat, because that's the only way you can simulate what happens in the game. And, you know, whether you're pitching or you're playing third base or whatever, we saw that with Leo Gomez and Cal Sr. hit balls down at third base. It's the best way to try to get better, and it's good to see that Adam's going to do it. I would like to see not only Nick and Adam do that, not Adam Scott, but Luke Scott in left field, and Patterson, because it just makes you a better outfielder.
Jim, Felix Pie is on the verge of coming back. I think what we saw was a difference in a player than we saw the year before. He made a lot of mistakes in the outfield. He really showed his immaturity. But I think at the start of the season, I think there was high hopes for him after a good spring training. He showed a little power. He showed a little more intelligence out there and an ability to play defense. What are your thoughts on him right now?
Well, you know, they need offense. You know, Terry Crowley did a terrific job with him last year, shortened the swing. You know, Crow's not a guy that overreacts, but, you know, he just figured this swing is not going to work. The last couple of months, he was as good as anybody in the Oriole lineup, and then this spring had the best spring of anybody else. And he also, what I liked was the fact that, you know, he started out well, even though he had the torn muscle in his shoulder that bothered him. But what he did was he was starting to steal bases. So I think, you know, as a young player that's never really been pressed to fully, you know, maximize his ability, it just looked like he had turned the corner. So he's going to have to come off the injury. You know, when you rehab, it's not the same as being up here. So it's going to probably take him a while. But again, when you need offense and you need good team speed, he's really going to add that to the mix.
Jim, if momentum is only as good as the next day's starter, we figure it all falls on you tonight. You're back in the booth starting tonight.
Well, I don't know about me. I think I'd rather it hinge on Brian Mattis, who, you know, actually didn't pitch well. You know, he got a big lead and then threw a couple of 2-run home runs, but pitched very well out in San Diego. So, you know, I think he knows what he needs to do, whether he can do it, which is to keep the ball down. That's the big thing for him, because he's not overpowering. And as Rick said, I don't think you ever take Oakland lightly, because they just find a way to win. But, you know, this is a good matchup. I mean, this is not the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Angels, as Rick talked about, or even the White Sox. So, you know, go out there, make your pitches, and take your chances, because the club is starting to play well. But they need this starting pitcher to settle down so Juan Samuel can handle that bullpen a little bit better.